You cannot become unrecognizable while still living. For people who recognize only the old version of you, every time you try to change, a part of your mind asks, what will they think? What will they say if you disappear? What will they say if you become serious? What will they say if you stop acting like the person they are used to, controlling, laughing at, or predicting that is how the old you survives? Not only through bad habits, but through the fear of being seen changing. You delay because you do not want to look foolish. You shrink your goals because you do not want to be judged. You explain your plans too early, then let other people's doubt enter your mind, before your discipline even has roots. But listen carefully, the version of you that changes your life will not be built by committee music. It will not be approved by the crowd. It will not wait until everyone understands your silence, your focus, your distance, or your new standards. If you keep asking familiar people for permission to become unfamiliar, you will stay exactly where they can recognize you. Stoicism teaches one hard truth here. You do not control their opinions, but you do control whether you keep living under them. You control your attention, your actions, your standards, and the amount of access you give to noise that keeps pulling you back. So forget everyone else, not with hatred, not with arrogance, and not because people do not matter, but because your life cannot be rebuilt, while their voices are louder than your own command. If you are tired of being the same person with the same excuses, the same distractions, and the same private disappointment, this is where the change begins. Quietly, seriously, and without waiting for applause. Let's begin. The first reason most people never become unrecognizable is because they are addicted to being understood. They want growth, but they also want approval. They want transformation, but they also want everyone around them to feel comfortable with that transformation. They want to change their habits, their mindset, their standards, and their future. Yet they keep looking over their shoulder to see who is watching. This creates a silent conflict inside the mind. One part wants progress, the other part wants acceptance. And acceptance usually wins because it feels safer. Human beings have always feared rejection. Thousands of years ago, being rejected by the tribe could mean death. Today, rejection usually means nothing more than uncomfortable opinions, and criticism, gossip, or misunderstanding. Yet the brain often reacts as if the danger is still real. That is why people stay small. They remain trapped inside familiar patterns. Because familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar growth. But every great transformation requires a period where people no longer understand you. There comes a moment when your new actions stop matching the image others have of you. They become confused. They question you. Some may even try to pull you back toward the version of yourself they prefer, not because they hate you, but because your growth forces them to examine their own lack of growth. Your discipline reminds them of their excuses. Your focus reminds them of their distractions. Your ambition reminds them of the dreams they abandoned long ago. And that makes people uncomfortable. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that the opinions of others are outside your control. Yet, many people continue to surrender their peace to things they cannot. Controlled, think about how much energy is wasted, worrying about conversations that have not happened, judgments that may never come, and opinions that change from person to person. One individual will criticize you for being too ambitious. Another will criticize you for not being ambitious enough. One will say you are too quiet. Another will say you talk too much. If your identity depends on satisfying everyone, you will spend your entire life chasing a target that constantly moves. This is why Stoicism teaches that your focus must remain on what belongs to you. Your character belongs to you. Your discipline belongs to you. Your actions belong to you. The reactions of others do not. Many people imagine transformation as a dramatic event. They picture a single moment where everything changes overnight. But real transformation rarely works that way. Most meaningful change happens in silence. It happens when nobody is watching. It happens during ordinary mornings, when you choose discipline instead of comfort. It happens during difficult evenings, when you refuse to return to old habits. It happens when nobody applauds, nobody notices, and nobody congratulates you. This is where most people quit, because they secretly expected recognition. Before results, they wanted evidence that their efforts mattered. Yet the strongest individuals learn to continue. Even when validation never arrives, they understand that progress is often invisible. Long before it becomes obvious, imagine a tree growing beneath the soil. For a long time, nothing appears to be happening. The roots are expanding, strengthening, and preparing for future growth. From the outside, It looks as though there is no progress at all, but beneath the surface, everything is changing. Your personal growth works the same way. Before the world sees the results, you must build the roots. You must strengthen your mind, your habits, and your standards. This process is often lonely because nobody can see it. But loneliness is not always a sign that something is wrong. Sometimes it is proof that something powerful is being built. Another reason people fail to become unrecognizable is because they continue negotiating with their weaknesses. They treat discipline like a suggestion rather than a requirement. Every morning, they promise themselves they will change. Every evening they create another excuse. They tell themselves they will start tomorrow, next week, next month, or next year. But the truth remains the same. The life you want is hidden behind the work you keep avoiding. There is no shortcut around that reality. No amount of motivation can replace consistent action. No inspirational quote can build your future for you. The Stoics emphasized action because they understood that wisdom without action is useless. Knowledge means nothing if it never changes behavior. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that obstacles are not interruptions to the path, they are the path itself. Most people spend years waiting for perfect conditions. They wait until they feel confident. They wait until they feel motivated. They wait until life becomes easier. But confidence is often created through action, not before its strength is developed through resistance. Not comfort the obstacle you fear, maybe the exact experience required to transform you. Becoming unrecognizable also means accepting that some people will leave. This is one of the hardest truths to face. Growth changes relationships. When your standards rise, some connections naturally weaken. When your priorities change, certain conversations no longer interest you. When your discipline increases, some people interpret your focus as distance. This can be painful yet. Not everyone is meant to accompany you into every season of your life. Some people belong to a previous chapter. Holding on to them too tightly can prevent you from entering the next one. This does not mean becoming cold, arrogant, or disconnected. Stoicism never teaches isolation. It teaches independence. There is a difference. Isolation rejects people. Independence refuses to depend on them for identity, confidence, or direction. Independent individuals can love deeply without becoming controlled. They can respect others without surrendering themselves. They can listen without obeying every opinion. This balance creates inner freedom. The greatest transformation often begins when you stop announcing your intentions. Too many people talk about the future they want instead of building it. They share their goals with everyone around them. Hoping for encouragement, sometimes they receive encouragement. Other times they receive doubt, criticism, or subtle negativity. Either way, excessive talking can create the illusion of progress without producing actual results. Silent action is different. Silent action does not seek approval. It seeks improvement instead of explaining your plans. Execute them instead of defending your vision. Build it instead of arguing with critics. Outgrow them years from now. The people who doubted you will not remember every criticism they made, but you will remember whether you listened to them. You will remember whether fear controlled your decisions. You will remember whether you had the courage to become who you were capable of becoming. That is why your focus must remain on your own standards, not the standards of the crowd. Not the standards of social media, not the standards of people who have never built the life you desire. Your standards determine your future. At some point you must decide which pain you are willing to live with. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The pain of growth or the pain of remaining stuck. The pain of temporary discomfort or the pain of lifelong disappointment. Every choice carries a cost. Stoicism teaches that avoiding pain is impossible. The only choice is selecting the pain that leads somewhere meaningful. One day, if you remain committed long enough, people will notice the change. They will say you were different. They will say you became more focused, more disciplined, more confident, more resilient. Some will admire the transformation. Others will question it, but by then, their opinions will matter far less, because the transformation was never for them. It was for you. It was for the person who was tired of repeating the same cycle. It was for the person who refused to waste another year, living below their potential. It was for the individual who finally understood that greatness is not something granted by others. It is built through daily choices repeated consistently over time. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop waiting for universal approval. The life you want is not waiting on them. It is waiting on you. Become so so committed to
repeating
your
the same
growth
cycle.
that
It was
distractions
for
lose
the
their
person who
power,
refused to
become
waste
so
another year
disciplined that
living below
excuses
their
no longer
potential.
sound convincing,
It was for
become
the
so
individual who
focused that
finally
noise
understood
fades
that
into the
greatness is not
background,
something
and when the
granted by
day
others.
comes that
It
people
is
barely
built through
recognize
daily
the person you
choices,
used to
repeated
be.
consistently
Remember
over
this, the
time.
transformation
So
did not
stop
happen
waiting for
overnight.
permission.
It happened one
Stop
decision
waiting
at
for
a time,
perfect timing.
one sacrifice
Stop
at a
waiting for
time, one
universal
disciplined day at
approval.
a time.
The life you
That is
want
how
is not
ordinary
waiting on
people
them.
become
It is
extraordinary.
waiting on
That
you.
is how you become
Become so committed to
unrecognizable.
your growth that distractions lose their power. Become so disciplined that excuses no longer sound convincing. Become so focused that noise fades into the background. And when the day comes that people barely recognize the person you used to be, remember this. The transformation did not happen overnight. It happened one decision at a time, one sacrifice at a time, one disciplined day at a time. That is how ordinary people become extraordinary. That is how you become unrecognizable.